Hi, and welcome back to the Developer Show's coverage at GDD India. I'm Dan Galpin, here to talk about Instant Apps with Lyla Fujiwara, Android developer advocate.
So basically an Instant App is an app where you click on a link and you're immediately taken into a native Android experience.
So what do developers need to do to turn their app into an Instant App?
Okay, so there's a couple of major things that they need to do. The first is that you need to have runtime permissions implemented. Now, if you're already targeting M, you've already done this, so that's great. Another thing that you need to do is you need to implement app links. So of course we're talking about the experience of clicking on a link and getting into an app. Well, that's exactly what app links do. So Instant Apps leverages that. And finally, your app needs to be under 4 megabytes when it's coming down to the device. So that, in and of itself seems a little bit worrisome because most apps are not less than 4 megabytes. But the way that Instant Apps actually enables this is you are able to split up your app into separate feature modules. So you'll actually make different modules for the different experiences that might be in your app. And Instant Apps will kind of dynamically download those for you in 4 megabyte chunks. What
are the biggest challenges in getting apps under 4 megabytes?
Right, so even when you have those feature modules, there is the chance that those will get larger than 4 megabytes. And honestly, the size of those feature modules and the reason that they might be bloated is the same reason that a normal installable app might be bloated, which is resources and having potentially extra libraries in there. So if you think about it, a library like Play Services is 1.3 megabytes. So already that's getting you kind of close to your 4 megabyte limit. But you can do intelligent things like only take the parts of Play Services that you actually need. ProGuard is also very useful. So for example, with the support library, that's like 2.4 megabytes. If you implement ProGuard, and depending on your usage with the support library, you can see up to 50% of that cut out of the app. And while you're doing this, another thing to keep in mind is that the Apk Analyzer is also incredibly useful. So the Apk Analyzer is, of course, included in Android Studio and lets you check your sizes as you're doing your refactoring and making things smaller. So another useful thing to know about are configuration APKs, and you can actually configure your Gradle files to split up your APKs into even smaller chunks. And you can do this based on 3 different dimensions. So you can do it based on language, image density, and also what hardware you're targeting. And this is, it uses all the Instant App technology, so it's an Instant App specific thing, and it's a pretty cool way to, again, get that sort of shrinkage on your APK size.
Nice. So where can developers go to find more out about building Instant Apps and the Android Studio refactoring tools?
All right, well, I would be remiss if I didn't say go to the documentation. So that's going to give you kind of your baseline layer of information about this. I also think that code labs are especially helpful. There's a really great Instant Apps code lab. It actually takes a kind of large app that wasn't necessarily built to be an Instant App, and you go through the practice of refactoring it to become an Instant App. Finally, there's a really helpful blog post out there, which we'll link, which just has a bunch of Instant App specific strategies for, again, shrinking APK size down. And that blog post at the end of it, it also links out to a bunch of different partner blog posts from companies that have actually gone through this process where they talk about the different things that they did and give some sample code and just talk about strategies for what they did in their cases.
Thank you, Lyla.
Yeah, of course. This is fun.
Check out the description for links to Android Instant Apps documentation. Once again, I'm Dan Galpin here with the Developer Show at GDD India.